I have been climbing for 165 days now, and it's been a love affair. I've fallen for the sport real hard. I've been top roping and bouldering every week and learning every session. But now, it's time to move on to even more climbing. Yeah. It's time for me to learn how to lead a climb.
So what is this lead climbing malarkey anyway? Well, for the past 6 months, when I've went to the gym to go climbing, I've been climbing on a rope that's in place already. The gym has already put it there. So I tie into my harness and then begin climbing, and as I do that, my belayer takes in the slack as I go up to the top. So if I fall, there's hardly any slack in the line and I barely move, and even if I want to take a rest on the wall, I can just sit on the rope and I don't move down the way. This is an easy, chilled, safe way of getting introduced to climbing, and most people call this top roping, even though technically it's actually bottom roping. However, outside, there aren't conveniently placed ropes like this, but there are these little hangers all the way up each route. So the idea here is that you climb up and then you clip your rope into these hangers as you go up, giving you protection in case you fall. So that would be the first one. You climb a little higher and you'd clip the second one. So this is called sport climbing, and the first person up leads the climb. They are the leader. There's a couple of points to note here. Before you can clip your rope into the very first bolt, there is no protection. So if you fall before clipping that, you just fall. So once you clip a bolt, you start climbing above it to try and get to the next one. There's slack in the line. So if you fall quite far. You fall the distance above the bolt and that again, plus any stretch in the line. So it can actually be quite a big fall just because there's lots of slack in the line. And at this point, I haven't even climbed on real rock yet, let alone led a climb. But I was full of beans and raring to go. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Here I'm about to present to you a masterclass of how not to do this. I rocked up to the crag never having clipped a rope in my life, no helmet, no guidebook, none of my own gear, no knowledge about anchors, and never having even climbed outdoors before. One of the climbs looked easy enough, so I thought I'd give it a go. Climbing the initial part of the route without a rope connected to the wall completely messed with my head. It just seemed nuts to me.
Right, I'm in. Okay. I mean, this is hard. I don't know where your hands would go. Yeah, I'm bottling this big time, like.
I somehow got the first clip in, but then immediately bottled it and had to come back down. However, I was able to collect myself, calm down, and try once more.
Hell, man. Jesus Christ. I was my pants all the way up that. It's totally natural. Yeah.
So I did my first lead climb. Yay. I did not feel good about that. I felt like I survived my first lead climb. I was frozen with terror the whole way up. To put this into perspective, Kim seconded the climb after me on the top rope, and this is what her face looked like when she finished the climb.
Well done. Well done.
She looked like she was having a good time. That's how you should feel after you've done a climb. I tried a couple of more really easy leads, but this uneasy feeling wouldn't go away. Here's what I think the problem is. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm clipping the rope right. I don't know if I'm managing the rope correctly. I have a concern about the anchor at the top and how to connect into that properly. But worse than all of that, I am completely petrified of having a fall. I don't know what to expect, if I'll survive. I've never had a fall before. As a result of all that, I'm climbing at a grade that is well below what I'm physically capable of doing because I'm just so scared of going near that limit. So it's simultaneously not challenging and horrifically intimidating. Just for context, here's a little information about the grading system. For sport climbing, which is what we're doing here, the climbs are essentially just graded using numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 is a glorified set of stairs and 8 or 9 is like elite professional level climbs. To give a bit more granularity, each number is split into A, B, C. So 7B is harder than 7A, but not quite as hard as 7C. So at the gym, indoors, I climb at a level 6, 6ABC, and I've just started thinking about trying 7As, the lower 7s. I think most casual climbers climb around that level. But leading climbs outdoors, I'm in my pants at a level 4 and only really comfortable at 3 or even 2. I mean, these climbs are for children, yeah? So, the aim here is to learn enough about lead climbing so that I'm confident and safe when climbing at my physical limit, which is when climbing is at its most fun. First, we gotta change a few things. Before we get to that, a short message from our sponsor this week, Incogni. Do you ever get calls or emails from companies that you never gave your information to that are trying to sell you something? Yeah, everyone does. By agreeing to some fine print terms and conditions on a website or signing up for a loyalty card, you've unwittingly given a tiny piece of information about you away. And data broker companies have collected all this information about you and sold it on. Feels icky, right? Thankfully, you have the right to request your information be deleted. But where do you start? There are thousands of data broker companies, and they don't make it easy to delete your data. Incogni has created an automated system that contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your information be deleted. All you have to do is create an account, grant them permission to request your data be removed, and watch as they handle everything for you. They also conduct repeated removals to make sure your information stays yours. This can stop an unsolicited call or annoying email, but it can also prevent a lot more. People have had bank loans taken out in their name or fake treatments for medical conditions advertised to them. So keep your information watertight with Incogni. Use the link in the description to sign up, and the first 100 people to use the code MikeBoyd get 60% off. With that, back to the show.
Lots of things have arrived.
Okay, let's start fixing some of these issues so I can climb harder and safer. First things first, I bought my own kit. Helmet, quick draws, carabiners, the lot.
Helmets. 2 helmets. Here's a whole bunch of stuff, most of which I don't know how to use.
Next, what I really needed was more time on rock. Time spent learning how to climb outdoors. So I went with an experienced climber who led the climb before I seconded it.
And then twist up. Perfect, Michael. Perfect. And then get the right foot up onto the good ledge. Look at your feet. That was really good.
With a top rope in place, I could relax and spend time learning how to read routes.
Oh yeah, it's pinched.
Welcome to Project
Welcome to climbing.
It takes a while to get used to climbing on rock. There's no colour-coded holds, everything looks the same, so you have to scout about and find something for your hands and feet. And that's a skill in itself.
Nice, Michael.
After spending a while outdoors, rock started to feel less alien to me, and I was able to read the routes a little better.
Yeah.
Here's what made the biggest difference for getting over that fear of lead climbing. This guy right here. I love this thing. This is called a Clipstick and it solves all of my problems. Okay, it solves some of my problems. What this allows me to do is to clip that first bolt without actually climbing up, which means that when I do eventually start the climb, there's no point where I'm not connected to the wall. So if I take a slip on before the very first bolt, I'm not going to hit the ground. Even if your feet are only a metre off the ground and you fall, it's unlikely you're going to walk away from that. So this thing is fantastic. Thank you, whoever designed these. Using the Clipstick, I immediately felt more confident and safe knowing that the rope was clipped to the first bolt before I started. In general, I believe this is acceptable practice. The Clipstick sometimes gets a few funny looks at the crag and I know some people think it's cheating, but really, I don't care. I just can't understand why you'd risk decking out if you don't have to, because my number one goal is to walk away from the crag intact every time. With this, I finally started feeling and climbing better when leading. However, there was one issue still to address. I'd done loads of practice outdoors on the top rope, I'd practiced clipping at home, the Clipstick was really boosting my confidence, I could feel I was getting somewhere, but I was still climbing routes that I knew I wouldn't fall on, which sounds great, right? But if I got to a move where there was a doubt in my mind whether I could do it or not, I just simply wouldn't attempt the route, I would just come down. And that really hampers your progress. Falling is part of sport climbing, and if you want to push hard, push the limit, you have to accept that you're going to fall. I needed to convince my brain that it was okay to fall, that I would survive, and the only way to do that is to fall. Alright, this was the plan. Instead of falling outdoors, to make this as easy as possible, Kim and I went to a gym. We told the staff there that we were there to do fall practice, which surprisingly raised zero eyebrows. We picked an easy climb with a nice overhang and did just a little baby bail. Alright, nice. Let's go a little bigger. Well, that was absolutely horrific. That felt minging. So I fell for miles and Kim came right off the ground and we almost met in the middle. I think we did everything right in this scenario. Please let me know in the comments if there's something here that doesn't look right. I wasn't happy with this though. I felt like the chances of me and Kim meeting in the middle and her getting hurt were too high. I've got 15 kilograms on Kim, so there's a big weight difference. But we were here to learn and to practice, so I went up and did it again. However, this time on the first bolt I used this device. It's called an ohm and it adds friction in the line when there's a fall. So that gives me a way harder fall, like way harder, but it dramatically reduces the amount of force that's transmitted to Kim. Just look at the difference with and without the ohm. Now the crowd is split on whether or not you should use one of these. Harder fall for the leader, less force transmitted to the belayer, less chance of them getting sucked into the first draw. Genuinely, I'm interested in what you guys think of whether or not we should use an ohm. Let me know down below. Anyway, the terrifying, horrific fall practice was a success because I did feel more confident, I was happier taking a fall, and next time I was on the rock, I felt that confidence that, yep, I can fall here and I'm going to be okay, which allows me to push harder on the climb. After a few weeks of working on progressively harder climbs, I eventually tried one that I couldn't do. It was a stiff 6A on smooth rock with a thin crack leading to the top. This was too hard for me to simply waltz up it and would require me to work on it. A project, if you like. The most fun aspect of climbing. This would mean I'd fall off at some point. But I understood that if I managed my rope correctly and communicated with my belayer, I'd be safe. I worked on the climb for a session with a top rope in place to see if it would be possible. And it was hard, but I thought it was doable.
So here's where there's nothing for your feet. Now, I've got a trick here. It's kind of jam your left hand in and wedge your foot in there. There's nothing there, but if you just shove your toe in, you can actually stand up with all your weight on it. So, foot here, left hand here, and then just shove it in there. And you can stand up to that. Would you call that a jam?
Kind of.
I can actually just fully stand up on it. So the hand's kind of jammed in there, like that. The foot's in there, and you can reach up to get this one, which is good. Get the feet sorted, and there's a tiny little ledge here, and that's fine. Now I need to go over to there, but I can't reach. So I discovered that there's a tiny little hold in there. Can't get my fingers far enough in, but it's good, positive hold. Then quickly pull myself to better hold there. From here, I've got a decent foot with the left there, and I can move my hand along and match on that piece of rock. But yeah, it took me a long time to figure out that sequence of moves here. So left hand there, right hand in that tiny crack there. There, match. And that's the climb. So easy on the top rope, probably more difficult when you're leading.
You okay?
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Michael, did you get a fright?
No. I knew it was sound.
Darling, are you okay?
Yeah.
You didn't expect to fall, did you? Because you
No.
give us a warning otherwise.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Nice one, Mike, come on.
Alright, Tobes, take.
Nice one, man.
How you feeling?
That was awesome though. As the sheer panic seems to fade away, I'm actually starting to feel a sense of happiness and elation.
It took 34 days of work to take me from being petrified leading a grade 4 to pushing into 6A, 6B territory leading outdoors, whilst being as safe as I felt we could. This last climb here isn't actually my highest grade outside, but it is the route I found the most intimidating and the toughest. Next episode, we are upping the ante and attempting traditional climbing with one of the world's best. That means no bolts, so you have to place the protection in the rock yourself. So make sure you subscribe to the channel as to not miss that. As always, a huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support the channel like these wonderful people, the link is in the description. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.